There is heaps of incorrect information online about taking the LCR train in Laos. So here's everything on how best to book, advice for getting through security without any surprises, when the train is and isn't right for you to take, and what you need to know after arrival. Firstly, seats must be reserved in advance, and the best way to do so is through the official LCR Ticket app. When I was there, tickets went on sale 3 days prior, but they're currently showing 7 days ahead, so for yourself, just check the app for an up-to-date time frame. You may have seen online that you need a local Lao phone number to make a booking, but this is no longer the case, so ignore anyone who says otherwise. The app is really easy to use. Just search your station as you'd expect, choose your class, which we'll come to next, and it will ask you to register an account, which includes adding your name and passport information to your booking. When you get to the phone number, just leave this section blank and use your email address instead. Do be aware that bookings can only be made during Lao operating hours, and they do not accept MasterCard, only Visa. And if you're booking for more than one passenger, you'll then have the option to add their details before checkout. Once purchased, your e-ticket will be stored in the My Ticket section as a QR code. And despite it saying otherwise in the small print, you do not need to swap this for a paper ticket at the station. That's only if you're leaving Laos going into China, so your QR code on your phone will be enough for entry. As for which train class you should be booking, to be honest, there isn't a massive difference, so instead I'd just say go with whatever you're happy spending. As an example, a second class ticket from Vang Vieng to Luang Prabang starts around 190,000 kip. These seats are similar to premium economy on a plane, so it's still pretty good, despite being the cheapest option. I booked first class just because it was 100,000 kip more. This gives you slightly wider seats with more leg space, but also more room for luggage. So for such a small amount extra, why not for once become a first class traveller? Business class can be around a further 250,000 kip, so again, a nice treat without breaking the bank. I think it also includes a separate line for waiting before you get onto the platform, so it's slightly easier in that respect too. In terms of booking availability, I'd advise booking your tickets on the day they go on sale. Some days there might only be 4 or 5 trains doing your particular journey, so they can sell out early. If you are a few weeks away from traveling, I'd suggest looking at the app now to see what availability looks like in real time, and you can then judge how speedy you might need to be for yourself. Unfortunately, the LCR Ticket app is not available in all countries, so if this is the case for you, I'd next suggest contacting your hotel and see if you can book through them. This is what I did for my first journey because at the time I incorrectly believed I needed a local Lao phone number. The hotel only charged an extra 100,000 kip for the convenience, and that also included a 15-minute private ride to the station, so it was still a viable option. Finally, there's also the face-to-face method if you prefer, with official LCR ticket offices in central Vientiane and Luang Prabang, which I'll directly link their Google Map locations in the description below. So, you've now got your ticket, and it's the day of your train. Now what? Well, depending on how chill you are, you should arrive at the station anywhere between half an hour to 1 hour before departure time. But do always factor in the time it takes to get to the station, as they often aren't as central as you might assume. I found the InDrive app particularly good for taxis in Vientiane and the Luang Prabang, or you can just speak to your hotel. On arrival, there'll be a quick airport-style security check to enter the station. You'll be fine with items like bottled water, but the things I see countless people get annoyed with online is not knowing what common items will likely get confiscated. The most likely things to be taken are aerosols, spray deodorants, vapes, pocket knives, and scissors, so either be prepared to purchase them again at your destination, or just pack alternatives. Or if you are backpacking for months and your pocket knife, for example, is very precious to you, then maybe think about skipping the train and taking a road transfer instead. Also, for the avoidance of doubt, in terms of baggage allowance, whilst this is their official line, I've read countless stories that these rules aren't really enforced. I guess they could start acting upon them at any time, but my main point is I wouldn't stress too much if you're packing heavy, since they either don't care, or if they do, the extra baggage charge is still pretty minimal. Once inside, there's a few cafes, some toilets, and a multi-language departure board. At first, you'll wait inside the station, and about 20 minutes before your train time, they'll open up the platform for you to move onto. Board your reserved carriage, find your seat, and it's basically a train journey like any other from this point. There are a mix of squat and Western style toilets on board. My legroom in first class was wonderful, even as a 6'3" man, and it was a super peaceful journey that flew by. Overall, it was a really pleasant experience. Upon arrival, as mentioned, the stations can still be away from your final destination, and with no official public transport to get you there. So again, either arrange a transfer through your hotel, try the InDrive app, or better yet, there's usually a convoy of taxi minivans waiting for all the newly arrived passengers. I just spoke to one of the guys waiting here, and there's a set fee of 40,000 kip in cash to have you dropped off in the town centre. Reading online, this seems to be a pretty similar situation for arriving into both Vang Vieng and Vientiane, and there always seems to be enough availability to find a space. One big final tip I wanted to share is for anyone travelling between Vang Vieng and Vientiane specifically. You may have noticed from my full itinerary video in Laos that I actually took a shared minivan for this part of the trip, instead of taking the train. This was recommended to me by my hotel, and for this journey actually turned out to be the surprisingly better option compared to taking the train. The first reason is the time it takes. As shown, if you're taking the train, there are a number of different aspects that make up your total journey time, whereas taking a shared minivan is mostly one well-maintained road, with hotel pickups at the start being the only delay. I booked the minivan through my hotel, which I'll link all places I stayed at in the description below, and the journey cost me 200,000 kip, which is still comparable to the train depending on your time slot. I'd still 100% recommend the train between Vang Vieng and Luang Prabang, as that road isn't as well maintained, but I wanted to put this minivan alternative on your radar as it often gets overlooked despite being arguably the easier option. Check out my 9 do's, don'ts and common mistakes for visiting Laos next, or my full 10-day itinerary for ideas on what to do in the country. If you do have any questions, do let me know, give this video a thumbs up, and as ever, thank you for watching. Carry on, monkey.